Have you ever been surrounded by people and still felt completely alone? You laugh with friends, you reply to messages, you sit in a crowded classroom or walk through a busy street, and yet, somewhere inside, you feel disconnected. That's the strange thing about loneliness. You don't have to be physically alone to experience it. Sometimes, loneliness isn't about how many people are around you. It's about how connected you feel to them. And the psychology behind it is far more interesting than most people realize. So why does loneliness happen? Why can your mind make you feel isolated even when someone is sitting right beside you? And most importantly, why does loneliness sometimes become a cycle that's so difficult to escape? Let's start with something important. Loneliness is not the same as being alone. Being alone is a situation. Loneliness is an emotional experience. You can choose to spend an afternoon alone and feel completely comfortable, but you can also sit in a room full of people and feel like nobody truly sees you. Psychologists often describe loneliness as a gap between the relationships you have and the relationships you wish you had. The bigger that gap feels, the stronger loneliness can become. And here's where things get complicated. Your brain is wired for connection. For most of human history, belonging to a group wasn't just emotionally comforting, it was important for survival. So when your brain detects social disconnection, it can treat that feeling as a signal. Something is wrong. Pay attention. Loneliness, in that sense, can act like an emotional alarm system. It's your mind saying, you need connection. The problem begins when the alarm stays switched on for too long. Imagine this. You feel lonely. Because you feel lonely, you become more sensitive to rejection. A delayed reply suddenly feels like rejection. A friend canceling plans feels personal. A quiet conversation feels awkward. And slowly, your brain starts expecting negative social experiences. So, you begin protecting yourself. You talk less. You stop reaching out. You decline invitations. And eventually, you become even more isolated, which makes you feel even lonelier. That's the loneliness loop. Loneliness creates fear of rejection. Fear creates withdrawal, and withdrawal creates more loneliness. And the hardest part? The person experiencing it may not even realize the cycle is happening. Loneliness can also change the way you interpret social situations. When you already expect rejection, your brain may pay more attention to signs that confirm your fear. A neutral facial expression can suddenly look unfriendly. A short reply can feel cold, and silence can feel like proof that nobody cares. But here's the catch. The interpretation may not always match reality. Your feelings are real, but feelings aren't always accurate explanations of what's happening. Now, there's another strange part of modern loneliness. We have more ways to communicate than ever before, but communication isn't automatically connection. You can exchange hundreds of messages and still feel like nobody truly knows you. Because real connection often requires something deeper: attention, trust, vulnerability, and the feeling that you can be yourself. Sometimes loneliness becomes worse because we hide it. You might smile when you're struggling, say, "I'm fine," when you're not, and wait for someone else to notice. But here's the uncomfortable truth. People aren't mind readers. Sometimes, the first step toward connection is making the invisible visible. That doesn't mean telling everyone everything. It can be as simple as saying, "I've been feeling a little disconnected lately." One honest sentence can sometimes open a door that silence keeps locked. And here's something important. Escaping loneliness doesn't always require building a huge social circle. Sometimes, one meaningful connection can matter more than dozens of shallow interactions. Start small. Send the message. Say hello. Join the conversation. Ask someone how they're really doing. Sometimes connection begins not with being interesting, but with being interested. But don't misunderstand this. If you're lonely, it doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're unlikable. And it doesn't mean you'll always feel this way. Loneliness is a feeling. Feelings can change. Maybe loneliness isn't your mind's way of telling you that you're destined to be alone. Maybe it's your mind reminding you that connection matters. So the next time you feel lonely, don't immediately ask, "What's wrong with me?" Try asking a different question. What kind of connection am I missing right now? Because sometimes, The answer isn't to become surrounded by more people. It's to find one place where you don't have to pretend you're alone. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more psychology content.